repair. But the fact is that the law director's office, she confined them that it was the vehicle was Caucasian vehicle that she was falling behind. So, and the law director's recommendation is that the city is not liable since it was not the city's construction vehicle. Ms. Robertson?
I concur with that. The implication was it was a construction Caucasian vehicle, and because of that, and what the law director's recommendation is that we have no liability for this claim. And I support that recommendation, and I motion that we deny the claim based on the law director's recommendation.
Second. All right. It's 6:35. I'm closing the claim committee.
Thank you. It's 6:37 on my clock. We'll open up economic development, which is Destination Mansfield tonight, and their annual report on what's going on at Destination Mansfield. So Lee and your support staff there, I'll let you take over.
Support staff now. I can go down. Not on the sit.
I think it's, yeah.
All right, good evening. Changing this up a little bit. It's definitely my year-end report to everybody, and it's fun coming here and doing this because it's always nice delivering good news. But I've asked Sandy Messner from the chamber, who's we're partners in crime when it comes to branding, which is going to be the end of my remarks. So there's things she's going to report on. So we're going to kind of tag team this. I've got about 5 minutes of facts and figures, but I'll fly through most of that. You can read that in the handout, and you can read that while I'm going through my comments, and look at some of the awesome pictures. And the packet's laid out with highlights of things we did. The middle part of it is the photos that we took this past year, and my favorite is the one from Arlen Field. I've always wanted to get like a Goodyear blimp view of it, which we did, and we got video right before the rain hit, before Shelby played Galleon, and we finally got it. That's been like my kind of unicorn shot. And also, before I get started, there's a great collection of signs that you all have put up, wayfinding signs. You still got the best examples of how to put all that stuff together. So that's going to be the mayor and Director Andrus's favorite photo. All right. In the package, there's impact figures from a couple of years ago. The state did not do that program this year, so I don't have updated ones, but I'm going to give you a different twist on our tourism industry. Fun fact, if you took the attendance figures for the Reformatory, Mid-Ohio, and Snow Trails combined, you've got well over 750,000 people that come here 365 days of the year. That's just 3 attractions. Most small communities would kill to have one of those. We've got all 3. If you add that with Malabar and the Carousel and Bird Sanctuary and Kingwood, we blow past 1 million pretty fast. And that's a great thing. We feel a responsibility to make sure because we have all those assets, we've got to put things out there constantly. Cool thing about those 3 attractions, their audiences are all different from wintertime through the summertime. They don't really overlap. And I think that's also a testament to the diversity of the attractions that we have here. So we're going to have a great year. The Howe Bird Sanctuary had a really good year. They were a focus of our marketing efforts this year. We pick a sector every year, and they were it this year. We designed a marketing campaign for them. It did work. They were very busy this year. It also won us a statewide marketing award, which we were very proud of. The ad was seen in generated 1.15 million impressions. Cool part about it is the videos that were attached to the campaign were completed 98% of the time. There was over 35 stories generated that had over 70 million impressions for the bird sanctuary, so they got a ton of publicity. One of the takeaways we got from it was people saw the campaign or interacted with it from their phones, streaming device, smart TV, and then their desktops, which is completely reversed from probably pre-COVID times. So things have shifted. That was good stuff for us to pick up on how we design campaigns going forward. Need to thank you for what you're doing, and I know the claims dealt with a lot of things came from the Main Street Corridor project. Love the signs. Love the fact that it's out there. Love the fact that you did the computer-generated section on your website. One of the pictures in the handout is we featured it on our website, so we sent people right there. That was part of us giving you amplifying what you do. We had fun with interacting with the construction guys, did construction fun short videos that called attention to the fact that businesses were still open downtown. Please come down. There was places to park. That was one of our contributions to it. We're also part of a marketing consortium for downtown businesses to help through the construction. And next year in the 2026 visitor guide, we'll have a feature on downtown and where it's going. To be more economical this past year, we relied heavily on social media. It paid off. We have over 1,434 posts. 5 of them went viral, which means they had 25,000 views each. We partnered with Tourism Ohio, the state tourism office, on 10 social media campaigns. It was a good investment. All told, for all of our social media channels, we've got over 50,000 followers. We finally cracked that ceiling, and we've got just under 52,000. For as far as public relations goes, 421 stories have been published in 11 months this year, seen over 53.6 billion times. That means that those stories popped up on somebody's smartphone, desktop, laptop, whatever they're following, that many times around the country. And the common denominator is Mansfield was always in those stories. So you're getting a lot of publicity. One of the things we take great pride in is there's been no development entity that's generated more positive publicity over the last few decades than our organization. And it's fun to look back on that over the history. We experimented with some fun short videos, not just the construction ones, but also we had a Boomer versus Zoomer challenge, where the Gen Zer in our office took on Boomers at various attractions. And I'll skip to the spoiler. The Boomers won every time. And sorry, Boomers still rule when it comes to spending, when it comes to travel, got more leisure time and more disposable income. So they're still the main target for us. For 2026, looking ahead next year, one of the pages you have in a handout shows our Space 4 campaign. That was the old theme that was generated out of the first iteration of branding. The second generation theme is called As Real as It Gets. The common denominators are quick, pithy comment or headlines, minimal copy, and awesome photos. That's why we take so many of them. Motorsports is going to be our focus for next year, featuring Mid-Ohio on the cover, and then also doing a feature inside on Mansfield Speedway. And it'd be kind of fun in a year when they've had a year under their belt to get some incredible photos that we can do more with. We're going to do more shorter videos with our partners, have some fun with them, and deploy them on our website and social media. Speaking of our website, it's a dinosaur. It needs to be put out of its misery. So Destination Mansfield 3.0 will make its debut by May, before this travel season hits. It'll reflect the community brand more than the current one. It's also going to be more AI friendly. If you do searches now, AI pops up when you do Google searches or any search before you get to the actual thing you were searching for. A lot of times that steals eyeballs away from websites like ours. So it's got to be more AI interactive, AI friendly. Cool part about it is the plan to develop the new site was developed through AI. one of our marketing partners used 3 different versions that he has to refine it, to get to the point to give it to the developer. So we're looking forward to that. Also, it'll be a little bit more interactive. Think about it. You talk to your phones more. You can talk to you should be able to talk to our website when we get done developing it, rather than typing it in or doing searches in the more conventional way. So it's us keeping pace with things. Beyond that, we're going to move into branding. So that's why I asked Sandy to join me here. We tag team on these things and thought it was a good visual that you see us together. We do this stuff behind the scenes all the time, but rarely go public.
Right. Yeah, so you mentioned that they could display the event page, or
Delane, do you have the link to put up the Play Here, the Brand Richland Play Here page?
oh, okay. Well, we can talk about it.
If you talk about it, I can
Okay.
give you to put it up. It's different. It's got a different tag on the end of it.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So, as the logos up on the TV show, that's of course the branding logo, and since that was deployed back, it was like 2023, we got it online and distributing in 2024. Since then, there have been over 700 downloads of the brand assets, so the logos from all around the county. So that is really, really working well. So what we have here is the first campaign for the Play Here. So this is the digital campaign that's reaching outside of the county. Right now, we're focusing super hard in the Columbus area, actually. And the whole campaign is looking to bring visitors into the county, into Mansfield, and hopefully one day, since they're going to get used to seeing it, maybe one day they want to live here too. So we're hoping to bring talent in, to bring businesses in, and to really showcase what Mansfield and the county has to offer. So this is the landing page they go to when they click on one of the digital ads. And it launched in November, and throughout November, there were 1,400 clicks back to this page. So most of them from the Columbus area. So it's working, which is great. And do we want to go into what that is they're looking at?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so what you're looking at here is the new event calendar for the entire county. So thanks to Destination Mansfield, we purchased this platform called Yodel, which uses AI to look at websites and Facebook event pages of our trusted partners within the county. So we have the parameters set to bring in organizations from the county. People can go straight to this page, and there's even an app, and look at what's going on this weekend. And it's going to show everything going on this weekend. You can filter it down to, I want to take a class this weekend. I want to take an art class. Filter it. And you're going to be able to take an art class, and it's just going to populate. So this is something that actually came from Mansfield Rising, the concept, and it's finally being deployed in this fashion.
Yeah, and when Mansfield Rising came out, there was a handful of projects that we targeted. Branding was at the top of the list. Wayfinding was a part of it. Mm-hmm. Community calendar was always something that was in our lane and something we meant to do. Until this product came out, we would have had to hire a full-time person to try to curate a calendar like that, was just not economically feasible. Now that this is here, this made sense. So we stepped in, was like, okay, we essentially subscribe to it. Jody in my office manages the calendar. Unfortunately, we can't put the calendar on our website because our website is too old. So the first time it's displayed, and Sandy manages it for Brand Richland, is on Brand Richland. And that's one of the cool parts about it. It can be deployed on multiple websites. It doesn't just live on our site. It doesn't just live on Brand Richland. It can be put on others' websites around the county. And with the filters that you can put on it, it can be, say if you had it on your website, it can be just things going on within the city of Mansfield. and then searchable after that.
Right. Actually, this one on this specific page, since it's the Play Here page, it's already filtered to like the fun stuff that people would want to do. So, people from Columbus are clicking and saying, oh, I want to go skiing at Snow Trails. And what else can I do that's fun? Then that's what they're seeing here. However, if anyone navigates to brandrichland.com/events, that's everything. It's this meeting right now that shows up. There's council meetings.
For
and
your entertainment,
Yeah.
city council. Yeah.
whatever you want. It's for the people of the county, for the people of Mansfield. It's all in one place.
So the beauty of it is it's deployable, it's powerful that way. And we're still working through the bugs, but it is there, and it does 98% of it works pretty good. So that's not bad. So we wanted to let you know that existed, that is a partnership, because it's coordinated through both our organizations, and that it's out there. And it was one of those things that we kept our eyeballs on it, and finally something showed up that allowed us to be able to create this. And it's for the benefit of all citizens within Richland County. And with that, I'm going to finish up with my standard spiel that every community competes with every other community for its share of people, businesses, money, visitors, you name it, new residents. And they do that, and they have to do that every day of the year. You do that by knowing who you are, having a well-defined brand story, which we have. And this is one of the reasons behind the branding. Now we're into the outreach part of it through the awareness campaign and through the Brand Richland site is now the outreach. And you have to put that out there every day because you're competing all the time. If you're not there, you're missing. And we're just getting started on all this stuff. We are learning as we go. We're learning with the stats and the responses to the campaign on how people react to things. We did a focus group earlier in the year, which helped tailor the things that we were going to put on the site and the things that we were going to offer and how we needed to speak to a certain demographic to get their attention. So it's all a big learning curve, but we're working through it and we're refining it as we go. When the live here, work here, build here pages finally get done, that will be active once we get past Play Here. We move into a whole nother section of communicating with people for different reasons on why they need to come here. For whatever reason, why they need to come here, we just keep telling that story. And that's the bottom line of everything that we do. And so with that, we're done. If you've got any questions for us, be happy to answer them. All right.
Once again, thanks for
great.
coming. We appreciate the update, and thank you. And thank you too for coming, Sandy. Appreciate it.
Yep.
Pleasure to be here. Thank
Have
you.
a good Christmas and happy holidays.
All right. So we'll close that committee up at 6:53 p.m. and we'll start the budget committee meeting. And the budget committee meeting this evening, we've got some questions. We're gonna just kind of walk down through these, and unless you want to do it a little different.
Do you want us to come down front so we're not talking to the back of your heads?
Yeah.
Okay.
My name is Kelly Converse.
And you live here.
Yes.
So Kelly's the finance director and Jody's the mayor. We're discussing the temporary budget, which gets us from January 1st to March 31st. And then during that time, we'll have another budget meeting and hearing for a finalized budget. Hopefully they're really close together, but so anyway, part of the process is council asks some questions, and we'll see if that helps and see if anybody else has any questions as we go down through it. So you can rock and roll, or I can ask them and you can answer them, whatever you want to do.
Okay, well, kind of how we have this divided up is Director Converse has most of the financial answers and to the questions that were asked in advance. And then I can talk about the actual what's in the budget itself, questions on that. And so we may tag team a little bit. So is your you want us to just go down through those questions? All right.
That works. Yeah.
Okay, so the first area is employment. Of course, you know, this is the biggest part of the city's budget, personnel and benefits. So the question is, for those following along at home, have we changed the headcount by ordinance in 2025?
Okay, so first I took the ordinance number 25-005, which was the beginning of 25, and then compared it with the latest one that was updated in October. And overall, we added 4 positions throughout 2025. We added 2 tax compliance officers in my income tax division. We added a utility maintenance dispatcher at the service complex and an operations supervisor at water treatment. But just because those positions are authorized does not mean that they are budgeted or filled.
For instance, the operations supervisor at the water treatment facility is not filled. So, you know, essentially what's on the ordinance for the numbers is higher than our actual employment count. We're hovering right around 470 right now. So
We have a total of 637 positions authorized.
How many?
637.
Okay.
but clearly not the money for 637. So
All right. Thank you.
you talked about which departments had that. One of the questions was if a job has been open more than 6 months, do we need it? What do we need to get it filled? So there's a couple things here. Let me use one as an example. We do have a supervisor 1 out at Clear Fork that has long been unfilled. We did have it more recently in the past. We, of course, as you hopefully have seen, have added our 2, I forget their titles, but the police officers that are down there at the reservoir. So those positions had been very hard to fill for a long time. We made some adjustments to that job description and some other things that has helped. So we've elected not to fill the supervisor 1 currently. And then some things like that, the wastewater treatment plant, we do have an operations supervisor there that we have been trying to fill and have been unable to do so at this point. So typically what's happening when that's taking place, we're coming back to the table. We'll usually run it at least twice. If it's a more skilled position like that one, you're going to need obviously an operator's license at a certain level and all of that. So we'll start to talk about, okay, where do we need to get this in front of? Is this an issue of salary? Is our salary too low? We have made some adjustments there, which has helped, actually. I will say that. Sometimes it's just getting it in front of the right folks. Other times, almost always we're short MEOs, so drivers, people with CDLs. So one of the things that we have done that's kind of newer, I think, since our administration is we've put things like that up for continuous listing. Before it was, you'd run it, it'd come off after a week or 2, and, it either didn't get filled, but it took effort to put it back on. And so we've just asked positions like that to be continuously filled. I will tell you, particularly, since we settled the AFSCME contract, some of those positions are getting filled at a better rate. We're hearing positive things from the supervisors as far as the quality of candidates that we're seeing. So, I'm happy with those those changes.
Thank you.
Yes. As far as any changes budgeted for 26, really, we did not put any new staff in. Of course, the exception to that is the police officers, but we do have that COPS grant coming in. So we do have the 91, which we've talked about.
We're actually down 2 bodies in 2026 for the budget as compared to this year.
For police, I'm sorry, for police,
In
or
general.
just in
No,
total?
in
Just in
total.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
It's a running target. Someone comes,
Yeah.
3 people leave.
Do you guys have any questions about personnel before we move on to the next question? Okay.
Good. Thanks.
Mhm. So for question 2, how much of the anticipated 2025 cash balance is needed to balance the budget as proposed? Well, general fund revenues are projected at 30.5 million, while expenditures are budgeted at 37.8 million. Therefore, $7.3 million was needed to balance the budget as proposed. That's the entire projected end of year cash balance being taken into the budget for next year.
Are we still thinking we're holding with needing that, or are you still working to trim that a little bit? 7.3 million carryover
I mean,
required.
it's an improvement from last year, which was over 8. I
Over 8
believe.
million last
Yeah.
year.
So, I have had this conversation with Councilman Falquette, but I mean, the city has kind of been in this position for quite some time now. But typically, well, not typically, every year we're not spending all of it. So we're working with our department heads to turn that ship a little. Last year I made some initial cuts. I would say this year I cut a little bit further into it with the idea of, rather than each department having that cushion, the administration holds the cushion, and then we can prioritize what we think is the most important in instances like that. However, we're trying to do this in a way that is not upending everything all at once for department heads. So again, I will say, when I went through the budget, I went line by line. And particularly, the biggest thing for me is looking at the 5-year spend, not the budget, but what did you actually spend in those 5 years? And we had some really good discussions with department heads. Everyone got cuts from what they were asking for. And almost all departments are actually down budget over budget from 25 to 26. Obviously, the bigger departments like safety services, we can't do enough cuts to do that. We just have a lot of personnel, but we kept that at a minimum as well. So
We've also been toying with the idea of splitting the budget into an operating budget and a capital budget, and trying to budget the operations to revenue, and then possibly introducing some sort of policy or legislation to restrict the cash carryover for particular uses like capital for that. But that isn't something that we can implement within a year. We would shell shock everybody trying to work with their budget. But, those are our goals long term to get us to a balanced budget to revenues. So we are talking about it. We are working on it. We're, trying to find ways to work this into ongoing operations.
I appreciate that.
So the question was, what expenses over 75,000? Of course, 75,000 is when we're coming to see you all to talk about that. I can't give you a complete list at this point. There are certainly things that we will be back in front of you for. Primarily they're going to be capital related expenses, but studies, things like that. I don't, with so many departments, I don't have an exhaustive list, but of course we have to come back to get the permission when we're proposing to spend that amount. So if you
All right.
have specific
You'll be-
questions, I will say that, like, if you have a question about a department, please send me an email or give me a call. I'm happy to give you, dig some of that out. But with the $35 million budget, all the $75,000 spends is going to be a big
All right.
dig.
What about police and fire? Are we talking a couple police cars? Any big things like that? Maybe if we go at that level.
Sure. So there was a question in here about, I think you phrased it as risk budget items. And I'm thinking of this from like a capital perspective. So when I was handed the general fund budget, I had to cut $8 million out of it from the asks. Okay. And that's a significant amount to have to cut off the bottom line. Some of it was a little easier than others, right? There was a very big capital ask at the airport. We just do not have the money. So that knocked off about 3 million right there. Right. So, I didn't have to go down to the every dollar to get to the 8 million, but I would say I got down to about 2 million. And then I really did have to go line by line. So every department has had cuts off of primarily their capital budgets, though certainly some operations as well. I I know the chief's behind me, probably glaring. I did cut police cars, not entirely, but they are not what he has asked for. Now, I will tell you, unfortunately, we've had some bad luck with some accidents. Not our fault, thank you. But, so we're working through some of those things. I do hope to get some of that restored in the final budget because we know, obviously, with officers, that's their office. The city has been able to replace cruisers more recently, which is helpful. And of course, last year we did the command vehicle. So that's, that was a big spend at once. So I think once we get past this year, I do hope to have them on a more regular thing. I will say from the fire department, the great thing that we have going there is the EMS revenues. So almost entirely their capital expenses don't come out of the general fund. We do have vehicles in there. We are going to need to order an engine. I will tell you that right now. You're not going to see 1.2 million in there because likely that's going to be financed. And incredibly, we're going to order it in 2026 and probably will not take delivery until 2029 or 2030, which is just crazy. So, but we have to be able to think that far ahead on that. So those are the big ones. I would say another area that I did cut probably to the department head's consternation was IT. We made a big jump in the last couple of years. A lot of the work we're heading to 365, some of those things, but we did have some cushion in there. And so, worked with Director Huckleberry to get it to hopefully a reasonable amount. And so that was one of the areas that I did trim a little bit more cushion out of, I would say. When you're talking some of the enterprise funds or the dedicated funds like streets and water, I had to cut out of every single one of those as well. So, it was, again, sometimes the asks are larger and just big asks that we're just not in a place to do. And sometimes you're like, man, I wish we could get this because I know we need it, but we're just not in a spot to do it at the moment. Now, hopefully in the final budget, some of that can come back in.
Circling back to the beginning of question 4, did any department run out of budgeted funds this year? And how was this remedied? No departments ran out of budget this year because that would be unlawful and we would not allow that. But I will say that, in every month that I have spoken with you or given any kind of financial reports, that every department has done very well. They're very conscientious about their spending. And at no time were they even on par with that portion of the year that had passed. So there are definitely no concerns about anybody running out of budget.
Okay. And I mainly asked that question to give some credibility to the accuracy of the budget. And I did expect it to be no.
Yeah. Yeah. Very good. Okay. Year-over-year change in major budgets departments up or down by percentage. I made a list of everyone that had a 5% or greater movement up or down. So City Council is up 18%. Civil Service Commission is down 18%. Service Safety Director is up 35%, but we'll answer that in a later question. Permitting and Development is down 7%. Maintenance down 6%. Public Works is up 5%. Police Department is up 7%. That is from being fully staffed and, potential contract increases. Parking meter is down 28%. Clear Fork is down 9%. Sewer treatment is up 5%. Airport is down 42%. And IT is down 8%. So total general fund is down 1% on a whole. Total safety is up 4% on the whole. Total water is down 6% and sewer is up 8%. But overall, mostly down in the budget. If you look at the overall, the entire $200 million package, it's relatively flat compared to the previous year.
Okay.
2 notes I'll make on that. We didn't obliterate the airport, even though that says 42%. You will remember this year we budgeted for that runway project, which was a one-time, $800,000, which actually, thanks go to the state, they ended up covering the extra 5% we were going to have to. So that's great. That's great news. That's coming into our carryover. But that's why that one is so steep. It's not, I assure you the airport still exists. And then Councilwoman Mount did ask specifically about that increase in the SSD department. And that's the drone software. It's not new in the budget. Last year, we had it under police and fire individually, and we elected this year to put it there. So it's not adding anything. It's just a difference of where it's being budgeted for. And Director Porch can answer any questions on that.
We just wanted the program ran right. So
Okay, question 6. We heard income was down year over year, but was, quote, on budget. How is it looking? Well, income tax receipts are at 85% of the estimated level as of October 31st, or 83% of the year being passed. However, when compared to the same time last year, income tax is actually 1% lower. What is the outlook for 2026? Because we developed this projection in August based upon July 31st numbers, we are estimating a very modest 1% increase in the overall income tax receipts, largely due to the addition of the water main tax. We have a new tax this year. So how did you develop the 2026 income total? At the time, we annualized the 2025 actual receipts and then used a 3-year average as opposed to the longer range, because receipts are on a downward trend, and using a longer range would result in an overestimated projection. We'll perform new calculations after the end of the year and more fully analyze the year-over-year trends. So in another area, I guess we could just move right into number 7, the top 3 to 5 income streams, which would be income tax, real estate taxes and shared revenues, grants, and water and sewer receipts. So year over year change, forecast, and outlook. For income taxes, what we notice is that from 23 to 24, income tax receipts were flat. Then from 24 to 25, they were down 1%. With the new water main tax, overall levels are projected to increase 1% in the temporary budget, but that's based upon very strong withholding income that we have, but could be offset by the business income tax coming in much lower than projected. So we'll take another look at that once we have end of year final numbers and see what that's going to translate to for next year with the same kind of analysis taking place. Real estate taxes are trending a little bit higher than our projections. I mean, very slightly. But again, the commissioners this year made an announcement about property tax relief for one of the segments that we would receive. It's not a significant reduction, but again, we'll have to take that into consideration when we make a final review of what we're expecting for real estate taxes and other shared revenues.
It's like less than 50,000 for us, isn't it?
I don't remember.
I want to say it's in the 30,000 range. I'll confirm it with you. It's less than 100. I for sure know that.
But who knows what's going to come from the state level too? I mean, there's still
They're passing bills right now to do with property taxes. So
yeah. Also, the grant fund really is one of our major sources of revenue. It's like over, $4 million every year that we get in monies that we're leveraging from state and federal agencies and other, local places too, like Richland County Foundation. So that continues to be robust and has been relatively stable for us. And, we address opportunities as they arise and adjust the budget as we needed. And then finally, for water and sewer revenues, they're kind of in a state of flux right now. They're either flat or declining, but we're going to take a look at those as the administration right now is doing an analysis and investigating, what might be behind some of the stagnation in those funds and their receipts and collections. So once they complete their analysis, then we'll readjust that for 2026 again for the final budget.
it seems to be in commercial again. So
Yeah.
you're hearing that in income tax, and then over here probably gives you some insights, but we're having multiple departments work together on that one to just make sure that we're taking everything into consideration.
And then finally, have any departments headed by other elected officials made significant changes that impacted the general funds? Well, initially that is No significant change. However, all the other elected officials did reduce their budget, but it amounts to, $75,000 savings in the general fund. And then Deborah had some questions. Jody answered the one about Department 10. You asked about community development and the contractual increase. That is because that is a grant fund. So we have to have appropriations equal to the estimated revenue. So that is what we're estimating for the revenue. It will change again for the final budget, but that has to be a zero-sum game there because it's a grant fund.
Thank you. That was my guess. I just wanted to clarify. Thank you.
Yeah. And then finally, the question on health insurance. The actual increase is only 2.8%. And that is because the city bid in health insurance for next year, this year. And that's what resulted in that very, very slight increase. Last year was, what, do you remember?
I think it was more like 8 last year, between
Yeah.
7 and 8.
Yeah, so it was really only 2.8%. However, the way we're funding that those expenses now, if there is a fund balance that hasn't been used, we are leaving that in the fund. We are not taking that back out and returning it to the general fund. It stays in that fund for unexpected claims that come in beyond the level that we have put in. Like we ran into that situation last year where we had more claims than we had revenue. So the general fund covered that. And for this year, we're in the opposite position. So we have more revenue than we have claims, and we're leaving that fund balance there, but appropriating it for next year in case we're in this position again, so that we don't have to come back and say we need to increase appropriations from unappropriated. So truly, that is the difference in that percentage there.
Okay, thank
I
you.
will know. I mean, I know it's been discussed here by the past administration about our health insurance committee that we have in partnership with our bargaining units. I do want to say thank you to them. We did make some changes, slight but important changes to the plan this year that also helped save some money. It's been a long time since that's happened. So we are appreciative of that and, trying to make sure that we're being good stewards with what's given us. And then we're also going to be working together jointly this year to do a little bit more around wellness. Of course, when we're self-insured, the healthier people are, the better that is for all of us. So they will be also working jointly with us on that.
All right. Deborah, are you covered then?
The only other one that I'd had, which I got an answer from, was the city council's budget going up the
Okay.
18%. That is for the possible project of scanning in the old records.
Right.
So that's something that we can look at if now's a good time for it, if we need to put that off, but that's just what that difference is from.
We keep talking about scanning records, and so far it keeps getting kicked down the road. It's one of those.
It's in there.
Yeah. Love
We could
love
start,
to do it.
maybe.
Love to do it projects, but yeah.
You did email a question about cannabis. So I have an answer to that, I think. So her question, I don't have it exactly in front of me, but it was basically, how are things going? Has anything changed? It does look like the latest I got from the Ohio Municipal League, although this is still working through conference committee, so it can change, but it sounds like the 36% is going to stay the same for host communities, which is very good news. They also passed or are working to pass a crucial part of that, which is how will they pay us? That's why no money has been distributed to any city across the state. So that is supposed to be taken care of in this, and then we'll start to see. Now, I have no idea and have been told nothing about what are the receipts for our dispensary. I have no idea when this will come. I mean, one would assume 2026, but I don't know if they're going to distribute it quarterly, any of that. So I'm watching that legislation move through the state, and I'll certainly update you. But I was definitely relieved to see that it seems like both the House and the Senate are saying we'll keep it intact as it was passed for now. But keep in mind that can always change in the future. And none of that is taken into this budget. So, be great if it starts to come in.
Yeah, and we're doing everything we can in our office to look for ways to increase revenue. And one of the things we discovered is that we are exempt from the excise tax on diesel fuel. So Jerry Snay, the treasury manager in my office, has been conducting analysis on all of our fuel bills and trying to determine how much we have paid in that tax on the gallons of diesel fuel that we have purchased, and we'll be applying for a refund of all of that tax that we've paid. I do not know yet what that will amount to, but that will be something that we'll do going forward, is to make sure that we can get all of that tax back that we don't have to pay.
Cool. Ms. Meyer, did you have anything else to add, or did we cover your? Anyone else on council that might have had a question that didn't get asked, answered? Anything else? Do we want to think about this and stew on it or for another 2 weeks, or do we? Yes. Okay. We will have a read tonight and a vote next meeting. Fair enough. Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate it. And at 7:21, I'll close.
Okay, so that means at 7:21, I will call this session of Mansfield City Council or caucus meeting to order. Are there any committee reports? Mr. Diaz.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'll make this brief as much as I can, since we had Destination Mansfield show how to access all the things happening in our community. But one thing we talked about when we were here last 2 weeks ago was this Friday is going to be a lot going on with Christmas time in the city. There'll be the tree lighting ceremony at 5 o'clock at the Carousel. In addition, Element of Art will be celebrating 19 years as a downtown business. You know, Salon, Vivace, and Lofts are also doing Jingle Mingle. I think all the businesses downtown are doing something. So definitely come down for the festivities if you are able to. And if you've been downtown lately, you see that the intersection of 4th Street and Main Street is looking complete. So as you can see, there is hope at the end of the tunnel there. On December 8th, Skate Ohio is having a pretty cool event called Past, Present, and Future. This is going to be held at the Ontario Crossroads Center campus. It's basically a holiday overview of what they've done as a nonprofit in our community. We know that many years ago, we never would dream about having a skate park, but they've done more than that. They've turned it into an outreach, into something that's real formidable. So if that's something you're interested in, please check them out. It's on social media as well. December 13th, which I believe is a Saturday, Rich and Outreach Center, otherwise known as ROC, is hosting Whoville Holiday at Malabar High School. This is for children of all ages. And I know that for the youngsters who show up, everyone will leave with a toy. There'll also be things such as pictures about Santa. There'll be music, face painting. So please be sure to check them out. And finally, warming centers is something that we are fortunate to have in our community when temperatures drop to 20 and below. So I know that EMA Richland County shares those updates. I know the city does. We all do in our own way. I believe that there will be different warming centers. Before it was the Salvation Army DeWalt Center. Now it's going to be the First United Methodist Church, which is 12 North Diamond Street, in conjunction with Project One. So they'll kind of like one will host hours from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. The other is 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. So that would be, I don't think we're quite in the 20 degrees yet, but please, if you're looking for a volunteer opportunity, please be sure to keep your ears and eyes open. And dovetailing with that, the Homeless Response Task Force did meet last week, and many folks are on that committee. Director Porch, Mayor Perry, Chief Ballman, Assistant Chief Napier, and a lot of other people. So we discuss all the great things happening in terms of collaboration with helping the unhoused. And as things are getting colder, we still have that unique partnership of police officers and our social worker with Catalyst working together to offer supports and also enforce law when it's needed to happen. So as always, no matter where you live at, if you are observing or witnessing people squatting in houses or vacant buildings, please call the non-emergency number, which is 419-522-1234 for the police, unless it is an emergency, then call 911. But we really want to offer supports before we act rashly. But those conclude my community announcements. Thank you.
Are there any other committee reports? Okay, Mayor?
Quickly, just two things. We did celebrate the retirement of Cindy Reed from the crime lab. Is it 37 years, I think? So quite a career at the city, and appreciate the department throwing her a farewell gathering. So congratulate her. And then the other thing is that I do want to make sure everyone knows that KV Market converted to Save a Lot on West 4th Street. Really want to thank the Buller family. I have been working with them for several months. They invested a lot to put that market there. It is in what would otherwise be a food desert. And they recognize that their prices before were a little higher than what folks could afford. So I'm excited. They have added a lot more inventory. So, it's great for a quick stop on your way home, or if you live closer to check them out for that. But just want to give them a shout out because they have invested a lot of their personal money in making that a reality.
Director Andrews?
We're in full snow mode right now. So in the last 24 hours, our plow trucks covered over 2,100 miles. And we had about an average of about 9 to 10 plow trucks out during this last weather event. And we have several that are being repaired. If you see how much those trucks are being run and the loads of salt and all the tension, everything, something's about to fall apart. So we have some of them that are getting repaired and get those ready for our next event. We have about 3 trucks out now that are cleaning up, pre-treat and things like that to get ready for the rush for tomorrow as well. Tomorrow we have 21 employees that will be taking forklift training. One of the things this administration has been very strong on is getting our workforces trained. And that's something that we have not done a lot within the last year and this year. We have offered training opportunities for supervisors, for operators and things, and this one is much needed. We probably hadn't done forklift training in probably 10 years or so. So it's well overdue, and this is going to put us, make our employees safer and more efficient as well. The other thing is the Shade Tree Commission for the City of Mansfield celebrated their 30th year. And that celebration, we have done record number of tree plantings, a lot of them in city parks, but some on treescapes and things. And we continue to use that commission to look at our tree assessment and start repairing and replacing some of those trees that are, especially in the downtown area. We're going to be targeting Central Park and the Main Street area and on our Shade Tree Commission as well. That's it.
Director Porch?
Thank you, Mr. President. I thought this was interesting and wanted to bring this to council's attention. I know the chief has informed me. So Officer Stevenson, he is one of our newer canine officers. He applied for a bulletproof vest for the canine through the organization Vested Interest in Canines. So he has received the pre-award conditions of that grant, and I believe the vest is around $1,800. It's in the world that we live in with that budget of that program, not a lot of money, but it's nice that a younger officer takes that initiative of grants. And of course, we love grants, and I know the chief loves grants, and so start to teach them young. So that's excellent news. Our community policing helped and assisted with the highway patrol at Kroger's last week for Cram the Cruiser. That event is always well attended, and obviously they cram the cruisers. I know the News Journal put out a story on that. So in case you didn't see that, we participate in that in every year. December 18th, the Police Athletic League will be doing a Christmas party down at the Friendly House. So wanted to bring that to council's attention. And on the fire department side, if you guys remember the House of Hazards trailer, that they typically take that to community events. Well, that was struck by a vehicle and totaled out. So that House of Hazards, to buy a new one, is in probably the neighborhood of $100,000 to $150,000 to replace. So through the insurance proceeds of that, the fire chief came up with a unique solution. He discovered they have a bouncy house of hazards. And when I first heard that, I was skeptical. He showed me the photos of the bouncy house of hazards, and this thing looks phenomenal. So he went to the factory, which is in Brunswick, Ohio. I think there's another one outside of the state, and he wanted to keep it within the state of Ohio. And apparently our fire chief was bouncing around and loved it. So I think for the ease of taking this to community events, this is, and of course, every time we have a bouncy house, kids absolutely love it. And it's going to be newer technology. And the best part is the insurance proceeds from our destroyed trailer is going to be covering the costs. So this is going to be a 2026 project that he's going to get instituted. So looking forward to that. And I look forward to seeing all the council members bouncing in the house. So that's all I have, sir.
Director Converse.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just have one thing to share with you. This morning, we were finally notified by the state of Ohio that they have accepted and approved our 2024 audit, and it will be published to their website soon for you to review if you would like to see that. We did have a clean audit for 2024, no items of note. There was one thing in the management letter that we discussed with the administration, and that had to do with one person being in charge of setting the water rates when they change every year. So there was no one to serve as an audit function for that. So we created a new policy, and our audit manager now will oversee that and make sure that those rates are entered correctly and on time going forward. So that is resolved. Thank you.
Deputy Director Madden.
No updates from the law office. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, with that, we shall now proceed with legislation. So for caucus, we will start with Bill 25-181 and Mrs. Meyer.
Thank you, Mr. President. Bill 25-181. Is it okay if I invite the chief up?
You may.
This will be authorizing the Safety Service Director to accept a COPS hiring grant through the United States Department of Justice, Office of Community Oriented Policing Services, in the amount of $1,340,792. Wow, and you're already up here. I was.
I had a feeling. Well, good evening, council. I know we've been over this, I think, several times. We put out the press release on this. This is just the final piece that makes it official. You guys allowing us to accept this grant. Just to kind of give you a little overview of where we're at. I've had 2 officers leave the department in the last week. One was just recently last night. He put in his resignation. He's going to take a full-time position with the military. I've got a sergeant that's going to retire in April, and I'm anticipating another employee leaving probably late spring, early summer for a bigger, better kind of opportunity. So that currently we're sitting at 86 with the first two that I told you about. If the other 2 leave, well, one is definitely, that'll put us down to 84. So with this COPS grant, when we applied for that, that would put us up to 91. So as the mayor said earlier, we hire 1, we lose 3, seems to be the theme. But we're going to go back hitting the recruiting hard. In end of February, we will open up our laterals again. So if you're a current police officer in the state of Ohio, or if you're sitting in a police academy at the time of that 30-day window of the laterals, you would be eligible to apply. So more to come on that.
Mm-hmm. Any questions?
I just have a comment. I just want to say that for those that don't know, those COPS grants, they usually get anywhere from 1,600 to over 1,800 applications nationwide and in U.S. territories. And they award just usually anywhere from 100 to 200. So for our agency and our staff to be able to secure those grants and have them awarded, you need to be applauded, because that's like 16 to 20% and you're competing nationwide. So congratulations.
Oh, well, thank you. And I'd love to take all that credit, but you do point out that I have a great staff around me that assists and applies for these things. So I give full credit to them.
Kudos to the rest of the staff then.
Absolutely.
Anybody? Okay, Aurelia?
Thank you, Councilwoman. I want to also piggyback on the same sentiment as Councilwoman Representative. I think you guys do a really great job at marketing the need for police officers. And while you also get a lot of criticism, unfair criticism, why can't we have this amount of cops, these unrealistic numbers of cops, when really, who wants to be a police officer in this day and age? When you're putting your life at risk and you're seen as the bad guy and enemy when you are doing so much good. And I just think that this is huge that we're able to get this grant money. And, I think I just want to give you glowing rave reviews. I mean, our safety service team is so awesome. The community policing presence that we have is remarkable. And, we have Lee Tassif and Destination Mansfield talking about the morale of our community being a lot brighter and upward. And I feel the same way about our safety services. So I think to those naysayers who don't think that we're doing our job or you're doing your job at recruiting people, I think you're doing an excellent job. And this is going to help us get to where we need to get.
Well, thank you, Councilman. That means the world.
Thank you.
Yep. Okay. Thanks, Chief. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. Let me stick around for the next one.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Wanna go to the next one? Okay. Sure.
25-182.
25-182, authorizing the Safety Service Director to accept a donation of $300 from Kokosing to purchase new traffic vests for our Mansfield cadet program.
Yeah. So for those that aren't familiar, they used to be called the Explorers. They're now the Cadets. It's a new program that we have, but it's the same kids. They support the police department in a lot of our big events with traffic and, some of the, the other functions to free up an officer. And one of their largest event every year is the Haunted Prison out at OSR where they park cars. So this $300 is specifically set for new traffic vests for them for their safety. And we are very thankful for Kokosing for doing this.
Any idea how many of those we'll buy?
I do not know that.
Okay.
Sergeant
Just
Williams is
curious.
working on that.
Okay. Thanks. All right. Thanks for all your
I
hard
think you're getting hand signals back there.
Oh.
Officer Edwards.
Oh.
20.
20. Okay, there we go. 20.
Oh, here, it just come to me.
Oh, yeah.
20.
20. Chief, you're so on it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll continue on there, Mrs. Meyer, with Bill 25-183.
Thank you, sir. 183 will be authorizing the Public Works Director to accept a donation from Frederick Herring in the amount of $1,445 to be used to install a park bench at the Sturkle Dog Park in memory of his late wife, Linda Herring.
Any questions, discussion on 25-183? Okay. And Bill 25-184, Mrs. Meyer, you want to continue with that one?
Sure. 25-184 will be adopting the City of Mansfield Cybersecurity Program by January 1st, 2026.
Okay, any questions on Bill 25-184? Okay. Bill 25-185, Mrs. Burns.
Thank you, Mr. President. This bill is authorizing our Public Works Director to purchase, according to a Sourcewell contract, one Bobcat compact excavator from Bobcat of Akron. And we will be trading in the 2020 Bobcat E35. And this is for our sewer repair department.
Any discussion on Bill 25-185?
Yeah,
Mr. Fauquet?
This sounds awful similar to last time. I'm assuming this is a different one and for maybe a different department. And what's the lead time? If anybody in the back row knows. the answer.
Yeah, this is for a different department. And then also we won't know until we finally get the money and ask for it. So most of these things are taking 12 months or more sometimes. So that's the reason why we're acting now. So hopefully we'll have it in time for the summer. I think this one might be quicker because I think we got a better deal because they had it on the lot and they're willing to move it. So knowing our staff, they'll wheel and deal. They'll make sure they get the best price as soon as they can.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, I would like to make a motion to dispense with all further readings for Bill 25-185 and move it forward for a vote this evening.
Second.
It's been regularly moved and seconded that we bring Bill 25-185 forward to council this evening, waiving any further readings. Bill, the motion passes 8-0, or 7-0, sorry, 7. So we will be voting on that. Bill 25-186, Ms. Mount.
Thank you, Mr. President. Bill 25-186 is authorizing the Public Works Director to enter into a brownfield remediation agreement with the Richland County Land Utilization Corporation, herein referred to as the Land Bank, approving the expenditure of up to $1 million for the remediation of a former shopping center located at 1157 Park Avenue West, Mansfield, Ohio, 44903, and declaring an emergency.
Is there any discussion on Bill 25-186? Okay. Hearing none, we shall move
I
on.
think
Oh, I'm sorry. Mr.
At one point, it was my understanding that we had the law director's legal proceeding with this Mr. Namdas, I think is his name, that we were pursuing some legal proceedings. So is he off the hook or what's the situation?
Sure. So if we can rewind back to 2023, I think it was. It's been going on a lot longer than that, but 2023 was when the demolition orders were put on by the last administration. You'll remember there was some back and forth because initially it was put on just the building itself, and then the city wanted to make sure that the parking lot was also included. And I think, quite frankly, they were pushing back on both of them, but they certainly were pushing back on the parking lot, and that became the thrust of the concern back and forth. So when we took office, the appeal had been carried forward to Planning Commission. As soon as I took office, the law director's office had begun with outside counsel working with their counsel. I think they've been through at least 2 law firms that I'm aware of. Is that right? Okay. Yes. And so if you want to think of it like this, they were the vinegar and I was the honey. So I have been talking with the owners about how can we get this at the end of the day to a usable site for the community. My concern, and I've been very public with this, was what I didn't want to do, even though by the demolition orders, we could, as the city, go in and demo it and assess it to their taxes. But I'm aware they still owe money on the property, and there's just ways of people getting out of paying that. And my concern isn't so much, I mean, yes, of course, taxpayer dollars are going into it, but at the end of the day, they would still own the property. So, I've been working with them back and forth, and then working with people in the community, basically asking someone who is community minded to step forward and buy the property, and that the city would work with the land bank, hopefully getting state money for most, if not all of it, to actually get it torn down. So that's essentially what is happening here. Now, I will tell you, we have a very tight timeline on this. The State Department of Development has the next brownfield remediation grant open until Friday. The end date is December 5th. The unique thing about this round is each county has $1 million set aside. So that's why the money is up to $1 million. Also, that is what we expect the demo. Hopefully it won't be quite $1 million, but we do expect it to be in that range with the entire site, including the parking lot. You'll see that it's all written so that, we're not tearing it down for NAMDAR. It would be the the new prospective owner, they will likely be donating at least a portion of it to the city when it's all cleaned up. And we'll talk a little bit more in the future about the use for that. But we have a few ideas on that. And then some part of the site, a good chunk of the site will be ready for development in the future. So, I think you can look at this one of two ways. We can fight Namdar in the courts. And, I think both the articles that came out recently did a good job showing you how many lawsuits they're in all across the country. And so, I think at this point, thanks to, honestly, quite frankly, the generosity of someone local, hopefully we'll have a deal. So between now and Friday, I'm waiting on an offer to be given from the person, to the current owners. And, if we can't get it together for this round of brownfield development, there will be another round in the future. So, but this is our best shot because of the 1 million set aside. The other thing I just wanted to note, because I do know there was a concern emailed to council regarding our own ordinance about selling property that's on the demo list. And that is absolutely correct. What is supposed to happen is when a property is on the demo list, Planning Commission is supposed to approve the sale. Now, I can tell you, and Director Porch can tell you, because we serve on Planning Commission, how often we're doing this in arrears. However, I'd like to make very clear we're not out of line with our ordinance. First of all, there's no sale at the moment. So, and what would happen by Friday so that we can put the grant in is an agreed upon sale price. So then between that and the closing, it would go through Planning Commission for approval. So we're not out of line with our ordinance. And, this is written, there's a lot of, prospective buyer, things like that in here for that purpose. Because, we know we're trying to get this together in a tight timeline. So, and I would say at the end of it, there is value in the land itself. So they would, if they agree to it, be taking it, the amount will be between the new owner and the old owner, but I think it will be a reasonable amount for the community.
Thank you.
Any other questions, discussion on 25-186? Okay, moving on to Bill 25-187. And Ms. Mount, if for caucus purpose, you want to just go on up through 25-195.
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. I will do all 9 together. Bill 25-187 is a demolition order for 41 Chestnut Street. Bill 25-188 is a demolition order for 368 Harding Road. 25-189 demolition order for 79 Eleanor Avenue. 25-190 a demolition order for 571 Spring Mill Street. 25-191 demolition order for 436 Gray Street. 25-192 demolition order for 132 Hedges. 25-193 demolition order for 501 Spring Mill Street. 25-194 demolition order for 1111 Boyle Road. And 25-195 demolition order for 513 West 4th Street.
Is there any discussion, questions on the legislation bills 25-187, 188, 189, 190, 191, 192, 193, 194, and 195? Okay. Hearing none, I don't believe there is anything else further to come before caucus. I'll accept a motion to adjourn.
Move to close.
Second.
It's been regularly moved and second. We adjourn caucus. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 All opposed, same sign. We are adjourned. With that, at 7:45, I'll call this session of Mansfield City Council to order. Please stand if you're not already done so for the pledge and the. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let us pray. Heavenly Father, we thank you for this wonderful day the snow, beautiful outside. We thank you, Lord, that we celebrated Thanksgiving. In so many ways, Lord, people really enjoyed family relationship together this time. Thank you for your presence in our homes, your presence in our city. Thank you, Lord, that you are the governor of this city, and the government of this city is on your shoulder. We thank you that you will not let us down. So tonight we ask, oh God, that you will guide us as we make decisions that will affect your kingdom, your people, and your city. Lord, give us wisdom, understanding, and discernment, that we will represent you in truth and spirit. For your glory, we pray in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. The clerk will call the roll.
Mrs. Burns,
Present.
Mrs. Meyer,
Present.
Mr. Akuchie,
Present.
Miss Daly,
Second.
Been regularly moved and seconded that we excuse Ms. Daly. The motion is on your screen. Motion passes 7-0.
Mr. Diaz,
Here.
Miss Mount,
Here.
Miss Robertson,
Here.
Mr. Falkett,
Here.
and President Scott.
Present. Unless there is an objection, the reading of the journal and correspondence will be dispensed with. Okay. Hearing no objection, we will proceed on. At this point in time, we will start our public comment. Just a few things before we do get started. For those that have not been here before, we limit it to 3 minutes, and we have quite a list, so I will probably stay pretty tight on that. Sometimes I'm a little flexible, but with the amount of we have and already kind of a late hour, I will probably hold pretty firm to 3 hours. One thing also, council does not engage in any back and forth debate. We listen to your concerns, and then we move on to the next person. So with that, I will call on our first person signed up, Bethany Mount.
Hello. Bethany Mount, 114 Cliff Brook Drive. Thank you for considering hen keeping. This is an opportunity my younger siblings and I really would have loved to have when we were growing up. We have heard folks all around town complain there's nothing for young folks to do. We all know this isn't true, but voting for this would allow one more thing for young folks and their families to do. As a Neighborhood Watch participant, I also want to thank you for putting in the safeguards you have in there in place, requiring chicken keepers to do things the right way. At first, I thought the $100 permitting fee was rather high, but I realized that if this is what the city needs to do to allow residents to have chickens, I won't complain about that. Again, thank you for considering this legislation. Please vote yes to allow hen keeping in Mansfield. I am excited for the possibility of more backyard flocks. Thank you.
Canning.
Kelsey Cunning and 993 West Cook Road. I'm addressing some of the concerns that have popped up over the past couple of weeks. And we have someone here who can answer any questions about chicken ownership if you would like to ask her later. First, regarding rental properties, it is multidimensional. There is concern about enforcement, in particular about renters, but they must follow the same rules as homeowners with the added requirement of landlord approval. Landlords choose whether to permit any animal, and chickens are no exception. There's fear of irresponsible tenants, but with more renting than ever, it's unfair to discriminate against those who cannot afford to buy a house. Another is the landlord's responsibility and liability. However, chickens are much less destructive than cats and dogs and less of a threat to people. The next concern is about dogs. from an dog ownership standpoint, having hens can annoy dogs. It doesn't take much to upset dogs, and I understand the importance of training my dog as part of responsible dog ownership. Whether it's a garbage truck or a squirrel in the yard, many cities with dog issues still successfully allow backyard hens. Hens are not like dogs. They don't roam the city with the possibility of attacking and spreading fatal rabies. Chickens won't be able to reproduce, creating a bigger problem over time because of the ban on roosters. They tend to stay close to their coop, with the boldest hens only traveling less than 100 meters when they escape. Enforcement is to avoid upsetting neighbors and protect the hens because they are prey, not predators. But that's not the only reason, but it's also that we want to enclose them, but also from contracting diseases from interactions with wildlife. Chickens can spread diseases like any animal. A significant benefit of this bill is its educational component. Biosecurity training would be included in the registration packet. There is misinformation, particularly on bird flu and histoplasmosis. Small backyard coops have not been primarily spread with the bird flu. Large commercial farms have. Histoplasmosis is already in Mansfield. The fungi can thrive in bird poop. We have not seen widespread issues with chickens in other Ohio communities, despite up to 90% of people in Ohio possibly being exposed. Mansfield's crows, starlings, and pigeons have not caused an outbreak. Another source is when dirt is disturbed in construction projects. With the many construction projects happening in town, we haven't seen an uptick with that either. As with any decision, pros and cons must be weighed. Families should make the decision, not the government, especially when it comes to with their health and whether or not they should choose to do it. Today, I did bring you guys packets because I heard from a few council members that you did not receive the petition last week. So I brought that, as well as information about the OSU chicken certificate and information about chickens and diseases, which the health department helped provide. Thank you for your time.
Next, we have Serena Hughes.
Hello. My name is Serena Hughes. I'm 8 years old. I live on 4 Dunville Court. I would like to have backyard chickens because we would not have to buy eggs from the store. I want to learn how to take care of backyard chickens. I would like to have backyard chickens because they would be a fun and useful pet. Thank you for having this time. Please vote yes for backyard chickens.
Hello, my name is Charles Hughes. I'm 14 and I live in the 2nd Warden on Dunbuilt Court. I believe that having backyard hens is important because raising backyard hens can teach me and others where food comes from. If we have backyard hens, I look forward to caring for them and giving them the proper treatment and having healthy eggs to eat. I know that having hens require hard work and responsibility, and I am willing to put forth the effort in doing that. Please vote yes to backyard hens. Thank you.
Mallory Hurst.
All right. Good evening, Council. Thank you for your time and thank you for all that you do for the community. I'm going to ask you to bear with me because I'm not a public speaker, but I'm going to do my best. My name is Mallory Hurst, and I'm a local realtor here in Mansfield, and I'm also a resident, as is my husband. And I care so deeply about Mansfield. I just want to preface it with this. I love this community, and I want the best for this community, and I work every day very hard for this community. So I would not advocate for something that I believe in if I thought that it was going to harm the community that I love so much. So I am an advocate for backyard chickens in Mansfield. I know that there's a little bit of chicken fatigue. We're all kind of a little bit tired of hearing about this right now. I understand it's been kind of going on for some years. But the issue is not going away, and we're seeing it in the real estate industry as well. It's starting to pop up more and more. I was just listening to a podcast by the National Association of Realtors, and they were stating that as of September 2025, it's estimated that 17 million Americans own backyard chickens in their homes right now, which is 13% of United States homes, which is a pretty significant, I would say, statistic there. So what they found when they started asking agents, because they're like, this isn't going away, like all of these chickens, they're finding that agents are seeing they're seeing that it can actually end up being a drawing point for listings that otherwise wouldn't have an upper edge in the market currently. So it's actually drawing people in as opposed to lowering property values like some people may think. But it's been a drawing point. Some people even may go to a certain house because there's a chicken coop. So we're seeing more positive feedback, which is encouraging, just to kind of give a little peace of mind for those that are concerned about property values. Yes, there is concern about nuisance and about neglect, but neglect is going to happen whether you have chickens or not. If you're going to neglect your home, you're going to neglect it whether you have chickens or not. So that's always a concern with property values. So I think that those two issues are a little bit separate there. And I think that with the city taking time to listen to concerns for those for and for against, taking the time to put in legislation and ordinances in place that will protect the community at large, I think that's very important. And I know there are vast opinions, but we live in a community where we're all going to have different opinions. So I really do think that there's some common ground. So I thank you for your time and for listening to the concerns that we have. I really do hope you vote yes. And if anybody has questions about property values concerning chickens, I would be happy to sit down. I'm much better over coffee than in front of a big room. So thank you.
How's it going, everybody? My name is Tom Hurst, and I live at 38 South Weldon. And my wife and I've lived in Mansfield. I worked at Relax for like 8-9 years, so probably recognize most of you. But really, at the end of the day, I think one of the most important things about having chickens locally is with the KV market selling to Save-A-Lot, food deserts. You hear a lot about food deserts. There's a lot of people that not only in this day and age don't get proper nutrition because there's a lot of garbage in our food nowadays, but also don't know where proper nutrition really comes from. With eggs, with backyard eggs, it's shown that there are 4 times more nutritional density to homegrown backyard eggs than there are at the store. What you're getting from a store is a factory farmed egg, where those chickens are cram-packed in a massive warehouse, defecating on each other, walking around, picking their food in those areas. It's disgusting. And the nutritional value is destroyed. Chickens get their nutrition from the earth, from the soil, from picking at the grasses and other things, right, and bugs. They can't get that in a lot of factory farms. So not only is having chickens in your backyard going to be beneficial for our community from a nutritional standpoint, it's also going to be beneficial for the chicken itself. We want a resilient community, right? We don't want our community to just get wrecked by sickness, disease, all types of financial issues. Having backyard chickens will mitigate a lot of that in the way that it'll get people to start thinking about, where does my food come from? What does it look like to actually not just go to a store, but provide for myself, right? Resilience comes not just from nutrition, but resilience comes from knowing that I can go in my backyard and I can take care of something that is going to then provide something for me. And I'm going to keep it alive, right? I know there's a ton of issues with people driving around and seeing chickens just roaming around. At the end of the day, these laws, I know there's concerns on how do we actually enact all of this stuff. Very fair. But at the end of the day, you're only hurting people that want to take care of themselves, that want to do things properly. When we make it illegal to have chickens, only people who are disrespectful to the law itself are going to keep those chickens, right? So you're going to get people who are going to not care about the value of their home, not care about the value of their community, taking part of that. When we give the power to people to make their own choices, I think we're surprised on how much more responsible they are in the choices that they make. Thanks, guys.
Next, Amanda Murnahan.
Good evening, council members. My name is Amanda Murnahan. I reside at 1410 Royal Oak Drive with my daughter, Avalyn. Over the past few years, like many people, I've felt the weight of constant noise, stress, and division in the world around us. Technology keeps advancing, and while I support and appreciate it, I also feel we've lost touch with some of the things that ground us: nature, community, and simple daily routines that can bring calm and purpose. For my family, raising a small number of hens represents a chance to get back to those roots. I also want to point out how thoughtfully and carefully this ordinance has been crafted. It is clear, structured, and built with responsibility in mind. These safeguards show that this ordinance was designed thoughtfully with neighbors and community standards. For us, passing Ordinance 50519 would be one small step toward a more grounded lifestyle, one that supports natural whole food, teaches children life skills, and builds small pockets of community connection in a world where chaos is more common than calm. I genuinely believe that Mansfield can set an example of how modern living and simple traditions can exist side by side. Allowing responsible hen keeping doesn't just benefit individual families. It helps create a community that feels a little more connected, a little less stressed, and a little more human. Thank you.
Maggie Zimmerman. Oh,
My name's Avalyn. My age is 9. Backyard hens won't cause any problems, but they would make a big difference for families like mine. They help to eat bugs. Their poop helps gardens to grow, and they give fresh eggs we can use every day. Plus, they will make my mom so happy. Thank you.
okay. Maggie Zimmerman.
Hi, my name is Maggie Zimmerman, and I am proud to say I own my home at 458 Reed Street right here in Mansfield, Ohio. And I want to thank all of you for this opportunity to speak on behalf of dozens of my neighbors and hundreds of Mansfield's residents who believe it's time we bring backyard chickens home. Right now, many Mansfield households face rising grocery bills and limited access to fresh, healthy eggs. Allowing a small flock, no more than a few hens per property, gives families a chance to produce their own high-quality eggs at a fraction of the cost. This simple change helps stretch tight budgets and teaches our children where food really comes from. I know some of you worry that chickens might lower property values or degrade neighborhood aesthetics. However, there are cities across Ohio, including Ashland, Lucas, Madison Township, and many Cleveland suburbs. They've all embraced backyard poultry with strict coop sitting and sanitation requirements and found no negative impact on home prices. On the contrary, clean, well-maintained coops and responsible caretakers often boost curb appeal, and enthusiastic neighbors share fresh eggs. It sparks conversations and forge new friendships across fences. By updating our ordinance to include basic guidelines like secure coops, routine inspections, and sensible limits on flock size, we ensure public health and neighborhood harmony. We empower residents to build resilience, promote local food security, and deepen our collective sense of community. It's a small change with big rewards: nutritious food, stronger bonds, safer environments, and no hit to property values. Let's give Mansfield families the freedom to raise a handful of healthy hens in their backyards, because when our residents thrive, our city thrives too. Thank you.
Next, Michael Paramore.
Oh, he must have thought it was just a check-in list.
Oh, okay. Next, Jessica Steele.
I also thought it was a check-in list, but I can speak.
I'm Jessica Steele. I happen to live in Madison Township at 1311 Bentwood Court, but I am a lifetime resident of the Mansfield area and wanted to provide my support. Did you know that in 1944, 40% of our nation's fresh produce came from Victory Gardens? Victory Gardens were encouraged during the First and the Second World Wars, and they also included hens. It provided a very sustainable, very close to home way for the families to not only have fresh eggs, it provided them with fresh meat, as well as insect control. There are obviously concerns that have been expressed with other diseases and so forth, but you guys are helping to mitigate that by having the ordinances outlined the way you have with the restrictions and reasonable and responsible guidelines. In addition to the Victory Garden concept, that has also allowed people to have community, know their food sources, and have better food for them. In addition to sharing my support, I also wanted to give some credentials. I am a mother, I'm a 4-H alumni, I am a 4-H advisor, and had the opportunity to be raised on a farm. Knowing where my food came from a young age, I took very much for granted. Coming back as an adult and having children in my home, we fostered. So bringing children into our home that were from inner city situations, having no clue that a chicken running around in the yard is the same kind of chicken on your plate, even though they have the same name. So having that opportunity for children to see where food comes from and realize what food is a healthy choice for their body and to be able to be a better part of their community by being healthy is really important. And that is something that is so hard anymore. With that said, by being a 4-H advisor and a 4-H alumni, we had many opportunities to care for animals, and having chickens would be an opportunity for young children to have even more opportunity to practice public speaking and showmanship skills when they're out at the fair. To see children that are so very quiet and reserved, myself included, I absolutely hate public speaking. I have goosebumps right now. But I can do it. Can be taught. You can help make a difference, even in young children's lives through programs such as 4-H and being able to have opportunities such as Backyard Chickens. So we appreciate all that you guys have put forth through the thought process. It's very well written. So thank you for your time.
Jeb Baker.
My name is Jeb Baker. I live at 275 West First Street. Good evening, Council. I'm here to ask for your vote to allow backyard hens in the city. More than 40 cities in Ohio permit them with no significant increase in complaints. 6 hens create less waste than 1 medium-sized dog. The proposed legislation allows responsible property owners to have up to 6 hens. The legislation also includes protections for neighbors. Please vote yes to move Mansfield forward. Thank you for your time.
Beatrice Hughes.
Hello, Council. I'm Beatrice Hughes. I'm kind of nervous. I am 16 and I live at 4 Dunbilt Court here in the 2nd Ward. I have lived in Mansfield my whole life. When I heard about the idea of backyard hens in Mansfield, I wanted to inform others about how pleasant the hens really are. Hens produce a pleasant cluck sound, which is much different than the crow of a rooster. Under the proposed ordinance, roosters will not be allowed. Compared to other everyday sounds, hens are among the quietest. A barking dog is over 90 decibels. A lawnmower is around 80 to 90 decibels. Hens clucking is around 60 to 65 decibels, similar to a normal conversation. I prefer the sound of hens to that of blasting music or barking dogs in our neighborhood. I've been around hens for many times in my life, and I have raised meat birds with my family. I believe that hens would be a nice addition to the sounds of my neighborhood. The proposed ordinance also limits the number of hens and sets rules for coop placement so that they are kept at a respectful distance from neighbors' homes. I like these rules and think they show neighbors respect. Also, with chickens comes chicken manure. Our family gardens, and we like rich soil. Chicken manure, after composted, can be a valuable fertilizer for gardens. Did you know that chicken manure is one of the best natural fertilizers available? Chicken manure is rich in nitrogen, potassium, and phosphorus. I believe that chicken manure would be beneficial to our gardening community. I have found hens to be good-natured animals that are fun to watch interact with one another and are peaceful. Did you know that Mansfield City Police records show that there were 32 dog bites last year, and those are just the recorded bites? I'm glad chickens do not cause harm to people like larger animals can. To conclude, hens are not loud compared to some neighbors blasting music, and dogs. Hen manure can be turned into fertilizer useful for gardeners, and hens are good-natured animals. I think that people who want hens and follow the rules of the proposed ordinance should be allowed to have backyard hens. Please vote yes for backyard hens. Thank you for your time.
Jeremy Hughes.
Thank you, Council. And I want to thank everybody here that's been speaking. It's been really good to hear everybody's comment back here. My name is Jeremy Hughes. I live in the 2nd Ward, and I'm going to read just a little passage out of Genesis here. Is Genesis chapter 1, verse 21. On the 4th day, God created great whales and every living creature that moveth, which the waters brought forth abundantly, and after their kind, every winged fowl after his kind. And God saw that it was good. And God blessed them, saying, Be fruitful and multiply, and fill the waters and the seas, and let the fowls multiply on the earth. And everything, and then the evening and the morning were the 5th day. And God said, Let the earth bring forth creatures out of his kind, cattle and creeping things and beasts, and the earth after their kind. And so it was. And God made the beast of the earth after its kind, and cattle after their kind, and every kind of creeping thing upon the earth after its kind. And God saw that it was good. And God said, Let us make man in our own image, after our likeness, and let them have dominion over the fish of the sea, and over the fowl of the air, and over the cattle, and over the earth, and over every creeping thing that creepeth upon the earth. So God created man in his own image. In the image of God created he, male and female, created he them. And God blessed them, and God said unto them, Be fruitful and multiply, and replenish the earth, and subdue it, and have dominion over the fish of the sea, and over the fowl of the air, and over every living thing that moveth upon the earth. The scriptural definition of dominion would be to have responsibility to care for and steward the things on this earth, or to rule them. This is the sovereign authority that God has given to all mankind to manage his kingdom. If I were in your position, I would want the next generation of youth in the city to have a good perspective of how to care for the animals that help us to live and thrive. This also would give the youth an opportunity to learn various skills. Many of the larger egg production companies have somewhat poor conditions for their chickens that produce the eggs that we eat. I believe all of you would want to consider how well the animals were cared for before you partake of the things that they give us, the goods. Please give the folks in Mansfield a chance, and please vote yes for the backyard hens. Thank you.
Mary Amber Hughes.
Hello, my name is Mary Amber Hughes, and I'm a 25-year resident of Mansfield. We're homeowners on Dunbelt Court here in Mansfield, and my husband and I are raising our family in the 2nd Ward, and I am in support of backyard hens. Both of my grandfathers raised chickens. I raised chickens as a young girl on the farm in northern Morrow County where I grew up. I believe living and caring for animals is one of the best ways to learn about science. I would say my love of science has come from my interaction with nature and animals that I experienced as a young girl. Some of my favorite childhood memories are visiting the peaceful and clean coops, chicken coops, of my grandfathers to feed, water, and gather eggs. I saw my grandfathers provide safe environments and care for their hens in their backyards. One of my grandfathers liked to feed his chickens his vegetable scraps to his hens, while the other grandfather regularly paid attention to raising his hens from chicks and keeping his hens secure from predators. These men were hardworking. They were responsible, and they taught me that animals properly managed are a blessing to their owner. I love this memory I have around chickens, and I would like to have the opportunity to raise chickens and create a positive memory like this with my children and, Lord willing, my future generations. I have read and support the proposed ordinance, and I believe that the proposed ordinance is clear and responsible. I think that the residents of Mansfield that follow the proposed ordinance will strengthen our communities. I'd like to be a part of a Mansfield community where residents are free to work hard, responsibly raising their fresh eggs. Gardening in the city has risen since 2020, and as a gardener, I know that composted chicken manure is a desirable amendment for the backyard garden. Chicken manure is an excellent source of nutrients. You already heard its nitrogen and phosphorus contents. It is actually twice as high as other farm manures that many of us put in, like cow. Chicken manure is a complete fertilizer that contains macronutrients, the big nutrients that my daughter already mentioned, as well as important micronutrients such as calcium that some of us would supplement to our gardens for healthy plant growth. Chicken manure is more than a fertilizer, though. It is also a good soil amendment. It adds organic matter to soil, which improves soil structure, moisture holding, drainage capacity, and aeration. Soils high in organic matter are less prone to erosion and retain fertilizer better, making our job more effective when we apply fertilizer. The organic matter in chicken manure also has another benefit. It feeds soil microbes and allows organic nutrients to break down faster, making them available to plants more quickly. I see future hen owners bringing local neighbors together for farm fresh eggs, composted manure, and hands-on living science. Please vote yes for backyard hens so that Mansfield residents like myself can use backyards to raise fresh eggs, create valuable compost for our gardens, and to teach our families hard work and create a stronger neighborhood community. Thank you.
Okay, that is all we had signed up for public comment, so we will proceed on. Are there any other committee reports? Okay, hearing none. Mayor, you have anything further? Any of the directors have anything further? Okay. Then we shall proceed to legislation. With that, Mr. Akuchi, I'll call on you.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move with respect to Bill 25-184 that the rule requiring legislation be submitted by Monday at 4 p.m. be suspended and the Bill 25-184 be allowed in the floor this evening.
Second.
It's been regularly moved and seconded for the Monday deadline. The legislation, or the motion, excuse me, should be before you. Motion
Mr. President, sorry. Can I ask, this bill in particular, we're using DocuSign at this point, and it was prepared in time, but stuck in my email and was at 4:20. So 20 minutes late. And I guess I'm just wondering if the 4 o'clock rule, is there any chance that council could consider amending the rules to at least allow to the end of the day? I mean, I do understand that, it causes more work when it's really late, but in an instance like this, I'm just wondering if that's, council rules that we could talk back and forth. Obviously, I'm not looking for an answer tonight, but I just wanted to throw it out there because, we're embracing DocuSign to be a little more quick through everything. And so maybe that would help us to do that.
I think that's probably something council down the road could probably work on changing the rules. So, for some sort of a, within that 24, that day or something. Yeah. But that's for discussion for another day, but very good comment for tonight. Okay, the motion passes 7-0. Okay, with that, Mr. Cucci.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move with respect to all bills that come before council this evening that the rule requiring reading on 3 different days be suspended and that each bill be read one time by title only.
Second.
Been regularly moved for the suspension of the rules. Council has the motion before them. Motion passes 7-0. Okay, starting off with our first piece of legislation for this evening is Bill 25-178. This is the first read, and I'll call on Mrs. Burns.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that Bill 25-178 be read.
Second.
Been regularly moved and seconded. Clerk shall read Bill 25-178.
Amending section 505.02 of chapter 505 Animals and Fowl of the City of Mansfield Codified Ordinances of 1997, adding section 505.19 to chapter 505.
Is there any discussion on Bill 25-178? Ms. Meyer? Mrs. Meyer? Sorry.
Yeah. Okay. So first off, I absolutely think that this legislation has been well thought out. It's certainly gone through, numerous meetings with the public, and I appreciate all of the involvement and the community coming together to come up with, ideas that would absolutely, potentially work. My concerns are the enforcement. I don't have concerns with the people who are here this evening that want to raise backyard hens. I have no concerns with any of you here. I have the concerns with the people who are going to go rogue, and then our codes and enforcement people having to pick up the pieces. That's my concerns. There won't be a software program in place for the Permitting and Development Office. And so every permit that they give out is going to have to be done by hand. The banding, which I think is a great idea. I love that, so that a hen gets loose and it's running down Edgewood, and somebody can, an officer gets called, because they will, and they find out that, oh, okay, this is hen 236 and it belongs to Cheryl Meyer. Exactly. But I was having a meeting with Chief Bauman the other day, and I brought up, I said, what if, let's say that does happen. Hen gets out and it's, running down the road, a car hits it. There's damage to the car. Probably unlikely, but more damage to the hen. But, there's damage to the car. Now these hens are registered with a permit and they're banded. Are the owners of the hens responsible for damage to this person's car? I don't know what the answer to that is. The chief didn't have a quick answer for me either. I suppose it would be if a dog got loose, what happens with that, when that happens as well. So I did put out on the several neighborhood watch pages that I am a member of, and ask. I kind of laid out, and I know some of you may have seen that post, and I also put it on my council page, laid out the highlights of the rules, not going into complete details, but giving the highlights of what the rules will be. And I had over 60 responses. Let's say there was probably a few more than that. Maybe I missed a few, but there is a new neighborhood watch page in the Sturkle neighborhood, which is the for lack of a better name, the area over like Hollywood Lane in that area. And so that's just a very small participating page. And there were 4 no's from that page. From the Keep Woodland Safe page, there were 8 yeses with caveats that the requirements are all followed and that there's codes there to put those, to enforce those. And there were 26 no's. Ranchwood similarly had 15 no's and 8 yeses. And then my council page had 3 yeses and 2 no's. Of course, I did receive the letters today. Kathy Bashar, Mary Amber Hughes, I got your letter, and Morgan Likens, which were all, of course, anytime somebody takes time to write a letter, generally they're in support of. I think we would all agree with that. But that's just some of my comments. I'm just really concerned that our codes office also, we have 2 code enforcement inspectors, and they're both new. They're both new within the last several months. Not that I don't think that Adrian and her department, that she's got a great training program in place, and certainly they know what they know what they're doing. If they don't, they will. But this is a big undertaking, and I would hate to see it fail if we put it in place. So those are just some of my thoughts. So that's what we're here for, to kind of talk back and forth, right?
Ms. Robertson.
Thank you, President. Ms. Meyer, Mrs. Meyer, I appreciate your input.
What'd they start?
I share many of the concerns that Mrs. Meyer brought up. So some of the feedback that I've had, and I made some, enforcement is huge, and we heard that at the last council meeting. I can tell you from coming from an enforcement side in the city, it is not always fun for the enforcers to have to deal with the people who are rogue, so to speak. And we do have, I'm sure we would have many responsible people. And I think many of them are in this council chambers right now. But what I look at, the things I've been hearing is how the ordinance is written. Many people are not in favor of the rentals. And I get it, but we have so many homeowners or landlords are from out of town, and we're constantly fighting them to get trash and old vehicles off their properties and everything else. So that's a concern. And again, it goes back to enforcement, and that falls both on police and codes. The acreage, in the city, if I'm correct, you can have hens if you have 3+ acres. A lot of our neighborhoods, and I think one reason the Sturkle Park, you have houses, I live in that area, we're right on top of each other pretty much. And that was a concern when I talked with some of my neighbors. They were not in favor of that. They feel that just arbitrarily allowing it anywhere in the city, downtown was another thing. Are we going to allow chickens downtown? That was something else. We're beautifying the whole downtown. Are we going to have these coops? And, and then we get the rogue people. It's not going to clean up. And then where does that go? I've heard from people that have dogs, and correct, I have a dog, little one. He's yappy. I guarantee you, he makes more noise than any hen will make. Any 6 hens, okay? But I will tell you that people are concerned. Am I going to have to put up fencing now because I have a large dog, and now I got this expense of thousands of dollars because you guys passed legislation to have hens, and I don't want a problem with my neighbor because we've gotten along really well. That's some of them. And then, these things we have here, we were talking about it last week, and I literally go home and get up the next morning, how it spies on you. I have an article from Kings County in Washington State about a resident being hospitalized since early November who had died on November 21st with the first known case of H5N5 bird flu in humans. Usually it's H5N1. So this picked it up, and then of course it's thrown it at me. And again, these are things you can get stuff anywhere, but that's just an example. As the legislation's written, I have many concerns. To me personally, based on what I've heard, and then I've heard people in favor. Don't get me wrong. I've heard people, hey, it's my property. I should be able to have what I want on it. I can tell you I played in a chicken coop off of Harker Street for my grandmother's friends when you were allowed to have chickens anywhere in the city, and had a lot of fun with that. But at some point, the city did do away with them, and would love to see the research on that as to why. But I feel, if anything, this is something that should be up to the voters. That's my personal opinion based on the feedback and things that I've gotten. And that's just how I feel about it right now and how it's written, and some things. And so that's pretty much all I have to say. I do think there's a lot, I will say there's a lot of positives, the education, the different things, the fact that you can have fresh eggs there. I know I do not like the price of eggs, and I eat eggs a lot. But I will tell you that those are the concerns that I've heard. Some of them are mine, not all of them, but many of them are. And personally, and from what I've heard, I would love to see it to actually go to a vote with the general public.
Mr. Diaz.
Thank you, Mr. President. I want to applaud Councilwoman Meyer and Robertson. I think that they're a testament of doing what elected officials do. You listen to people who voted for you or who didn't vote for you, and doing all your math. And I think this time around, compared to 2019, 2018 is so much different. I also want to thank Councilwoman Meyer for linking us to those pages of in different neighborhoods. It's important that we know that. I represent Ward 5, which is downtown. Some north end areas that's been begging for, accessible food. Where the food desert tends to hit the most. It's also an area that is on the border of Madison, which is a lot of rural type areas. So as of yet, it's still early in the game, but there's been a few people in my ward who don't want it, but there's been a lot of people who do. And I think when it's something like this, we need to approach it from a citywide approach. I personally feel like I'm surprised this isn't already in effect. I do want to also piggyback with Councilwoman Meyer with the concerns of not many folks at our city who can enforce it. But I'm very pro-hen at this point, just so you know, for a variety of reasons. And I think having young people come up here and talk about the educational aspect of it, to me, nutrition and affordable food is very important. That impacts so many demographics, particularly those who I work with closely. We have more geese around the city than anything else. And in terms of illnesses, based on billboards, I'm more concerned about syphilis than any kind of bird flu. If I can throw some humor in there. But I do think, I live downtown in a commercial space, so this would not apply to me. I think that I was talking to Mr. Swoops today, and who has a lot of experience with this realm. And I also know it takes a lot of money to invest. And I think it's going to rule out those who are very serious about having hens and those who are rogue. Will it exhaust and annoy those who have to regulate it? Absolutely. We also live in an age where we have technology and we can assist, and with our videos and our cameras and inform when those things are happening. There are several dogs in our community who are safety hazards and running amok. Let's not talk about the cats as well. But I'm also realistic. I know that talking with Councilwoman Meyer, that this can also attract predators like coyotes and raccoons and stuff like that. Oh, wow. And Mr. Hughes, I want to thank you for your Genesis passage because that really hit home with a lot of things in terms of like being self-sufficient. And we're just talking about a lot of really heavy things in the past few weeks. And I think I want those who are here to know that for those who are against it or for it, it really is not for us personally. It's we're doing it based on what we feel is right in our ward. But I will publicly say I am in favor of pro hens. I mean, duh, my name's on the petition. But before I did that, I did that as a resident, not as elected official. I feel like the area I represent and everything that is coming to us it really solidifies my vote more so. It doesn't take away from those concerns, but I think this is least of our worries. To me, concerns in our community are irresponsible landlords, irresponsible tenants, homelessness, things we talk about. Backyard hens to me is something I think that will move us in a better direction. And we'll have some bad situations, but I think it'll be positive as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Mount.
Thank you, Mr. President. I was wondering, could the mayor address, this was discussed a bit at the first meeting, but I know different set of people here. The enforcement, the plans we have in place, the delayed enactment, and also where we stand with that software, because we've been working on that software for a couple of years, and just where things stand and the slow rollout, that kind of stuff.
Yeah. So a couple things to note too, based on some of the earlier comments. First of all, when we're talking renters, the property owner does have to sign off on the license. So it's not going to be a situation where a renter just comes in and the property owner is not aware of it. Secondly, it cannot be done on multifamily properties. So it is a single or a duplex. So that would rule out the majority of downtown, if not certainly anything right in the heart of downtown. Maybe when you're getting over on 4th Street, you've got some single family houses. So it would be allowed in there just to make sure of that. And it is correct that we only have 2 code enforcement officers, and they are both on the new side. However, one of the things that we did in the shuffle of codes and development, permitting and development, Director Ackerman's going to kill me for that. So is we added a codes supervisor, codes manager, and that is Jason Ramirez. He has been a codes enforcement officer for a number of years, does a fantastic job. I have full faith in him to train those folks. And our hope, actually, not just on chickens, but on all kind of the nuisance complaints we get around the city, is that with the supervisor, we can make more headway more quickly on that. Absolutely understand people's concerns. Yes, there are a lot of things that are going on already. But I think, this is just my opinion, I guess, that, the folks that are going to go rogue are probably rogue already, to be honest with you. And this would allow the folks that'll follow. Now, if we pass this, it would not go into effect until later in the spring. To answer your question, I think it's April 1st. Secondly, the software is in place. So Acela is the software that the city purchased. But, again, in my next life, I'll come back as a software developer, because here's what they do. Each module you got to pay more for. And the cost is the build out of the module. And quite frankly, the cost versus the benefit at the moment of what we expect. I mean, even if we have 200 permits, right? That's not a lot of money, and it's quite expensive to build that out. Now, our hope and our plan is, yes, that's what we want to get to. We will be back before you with some other registries and other things that we've been working on with Director Ackerman, and those will all need that build out too. So part of our future thought on this is maybe we can work some of those things in together. So we're not just paying, I think it's $12,000. Is that right? To build that module. And that it just doesn't make sense for short of, if we have 10,000 people sign up, we'll change our mind on that. But I don't think that's going to be the case. Certainly not right at first. So those are some of the things that we try to do to take into effect. It does have the upfront. The reason the cost is higher upfront is we do an inspection right out of the gate. And then in future years, it's more like renewing your dog license where you're sending your money in. We know that you still have the chickens. And of course, codes always has the ability to step out and check on things. And we will certainly if there's the questions. The other thing I'm not sure was noted tonight, but the group that we have been working with is working to find, because one of the questions did come up, what happens when when we can't find the owner of a chicken? What do we do then? So they are working to find some adopters that would be willing to take homeless chickens, I guess, to their farms. And so that would be a list that, obviously the city would keep on hand so that we could connect everyone. So thanks.
Thank you. Is that you, Ms. Mount?
Just wanted to mention that list is in the back of our packet. The list that was in the packet, the list of people that would be willing to adopt.
Okay. Are there any other from council? Any other
I also just
comments,
wanted
questions?
to make some comments from having watched this topic for years and now having watched it for a good while this year over numerous meetings and quite a while of a lot of discussion, a lot of community input. This legislation is definitely a solid piece that addresses a lot of the concerns that people have. And obviously those were concerns make a lot of sense. I had them at the beginning as well. So I'm glad to see how solid the legislation is with the concerns and how it allows for the responsible, but it also has consequences if you're not. In my ward, I have heard from 2 people that are against, but otherwise overwhelmingly it has been 4. That I know varies by areas of town, but my area has been wanting to see this. So I appreciate what's been done. I don't know if anybody else has more comments. I have a few more thoughts, but I'll let other people go.
Ms. Robinson?
Thank you, President.
I'm sorry, Reverend, I'll get to you next.
So again, I think we definitely need more readings, another reading. And again, I still feel that this is something that should go to the voters myself, because there is a lot. You have different neighborhoods in the city that, embrace it, and you have others that don't. And it's like any other very controversial initiative or legislation, dare I say, marijuana. I think that something like this is best left up to the voters, and you get more of a true idea of what people really want. But that's my opinion based on the feedback I've had. And I get it, Mayor. I did talk to people that talked about the landlords and the renters, explain to them that no multifamily commercial, and we're going to be allowed. Their concern again was the absentee landlords. And how do you know that came from that landlord? And then what happens when we do something? Well, that's not my signature. How does codes enforce that? So, and there's ways, maybe it's a notarized letter. I'm not saying it's impossible, but these are the questions and the things that I've gotten and that I've heard. So that's pretty much it for me.
Reverend Al. Mr. Cucci, I'm sorry.
Thank you, Mr. President. Personally, as I listen to people here today and realizing how important it is to them, it makes a whole lot of difference in my mind. And for the first time, I didn't know that hens are therapeutic animal. I found out because somebody in my ward saw a hen in somebody's backyard and called me. And so we went, codes and permits, yes, they have the license. And it was doctor's recommendation, or it was therapeutic chickens. I said, oh, I didn't know that. And then come to look and find out, yes, it is therapeutic, not just for that person. It's so who can ever believe that chicken can be therapeutic? Isn't that wonderful? So, and as I look at the legislation, it was well crafted and a lot of details into it. And personally, I was saying, after reading this, if I want to raise chicken, I don't think I would venture it because it's so tight that it would be difficult for me. First of all, I got to pay $100 to get started when I'm not sure if my chicken will survive or they will die, you know. So for somebody to want to do this, it has to be somebody who is really determined and somebody who has much knowledge of what benefit is coming from the chicken. I mean, you have laid out all the benefits, a lot of them, for teaching, for food, and all that. It's true. I think the Coastal Permit Mayor has just cleared what was concerning me from sharing that now. And the fact that, yeah, there will be some landlords, the landlords have to sign off before. And if somebody wants to forge a signature, he's going to forge it anyway, in any form or shape, but it's going to catch up with them. But I don't think that chicken is a kind of bird that flies away easily or that's run out like a dog, broke through the fence and be on the street running around. I grew up in the farm. In fact, when I was growing up, a chicken, I slept in the same room with chicken. So it's they're pretty nice. They're kind. They're not really crazy as it's been depicted. They're going to run away and running around. So I believe that it's a positive thing that will come out of it. And so I am for those who want to have it. And I don't think it's going to be something that's going to be everybody want to have a chicken. I don't think so. I mean, so the hassle and the pain and the challenge of raising chicken, it would be easier for me to go to Kroger and grab one and already prepared. But for people who want to really do this and enjoy it, and it adds to relationship, you know, like I was saying, growing up, other kids will come over and we'll play with our chicken. So it brings people together too. It has a lot of good stuff about it, good results. So I think if you ask my vote, I would say I vote for the chicken. I like chicken and I eat it.
Any other council? Ms. Mount.
Just a couple other things. The consideration to take it to the ballot, that's something that I've put a lot of thought into. The challenge with that is whatever you put on the ballot, whatever the citizens would put on the ballot, is then unchangeable by us. With this, if we see something that's going awry, we need to adjust it. We need to adjust a fee. We need to adjust anything, setbacks, we can adjust it. If it goes to the ballot, we're stuck. Our hands are tied. We can't adjust it. So that's why I would rather see us do something that we can adjust as needed as time goes on. It was 1988 so they were allowed in Mansfield until 1988. And from when looking into the history, there was nothing ever mentioned in the press. Seems to be a part of a bulk package that they just approved new legislation, and that was a part of it. It doesn't look like there was anything that happened at the time. It was 1988 when it was banned, and before that it was allowed. But we've heard from a lot of people, and I appreciate everybody that's taken the time to express their views. And I think the group has done well with thinking ahead, addressing those concerns. But it's been discussed quite a bit, so I would like to make a motion that we dispense with further readings and bring it forward for a vote tonight.
I'll second.
Sorry. It's been regularly moved and seconded that we waive further readings of Bill 25-178 and bring it forward to council tonight for a final vote. Is there any discussion on the motion? Mr. Falquette?
My only concern about voting tonight is we're short one person, and although the numbers seem to be increasing on passage, just to be fair, and there's no guarantee all 8 of us will be here next 16th, and I really appreciate not dragging this out for months and months.
That was part of my thinking.
So that's my only concern. I'm just concerned that we're short one vote, and this could be a slam dunk, could be a little tight. So I don't know. We'll see.
Is there any other discussion on the motion? Really, Mr. Diaz?
You can say that, Mr. President. Sorry, I know it's like 9 and we're all hungry. And I appreciate what Councilman Falquette's saying, because that was something I thought about too, if this was to go that direction. I also know that since I've been here, we have had some topics where we would carry on. I know this is definitely one of those big topics, but I agree with Councilwoman Mount. I feel like, and I think the administration's did a good job, and I hope this does. If however we vote, I hope it doesn't come across as, shady because we have a council person who is excused from leaving, because that's not the case at all. I just want to reiterate that.
It was. Mr. Gucci second. Is there any discussion? You should have the motion before you now. The motion passes 4-3. So we'll be voting on Bill 25-178 this evening. Pardon? That's next. So we're on Bill 25-173. So Mrs. Burns? 178.
We talked for so long, I forgot what I needed to do next. Okay. Thank you, Mr. President. I make a motion to bring Bill 25-178 forward for final passage this evening.
Second.
Been regularly moved and seconded. We bring Bill 25-173 forward tonight, waiting further readings. Motion, or that, yeah, the motion passes 4-3. So, Mrs. Burns? Okay. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. It's 9 o'clock. It's been, yeah, we've been talking too long. I'm tired. Okay, Bill 25-179, Mr. Falquette. I am sorry.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that Bill 25-179 be read and placed upon the floor for discussion.
Second.
Regularly moved and seconded. The clerk shall read Bill 25-179.
An ordinance making temporary annual appropriations for current expenses and other expenditures of the city of Mansfield, Ohio for the fiscal year beginning January 1st, 2026, and declaring an emergency.
Okay, is there any discussion on Bill 25-179? Mr. Falquette.
Thank you, Mr. President. Earlier this evening, I was mistaken that that was already set up for another read, and the way it's listed in the hard copy, it is on for vote tonight. So I guess if anybody wanted to slow that down, I'll let them make a motion to that effect.
Is this for the budget rate? I'll make a motion that
That's not the way it's written up.
I make a motion that we put the temporary budget 25-179 to another read.
Okay, it's been regularly moved and seconded that we move Bill 25-179, the temporary budget, for a further read.
Yeah, the 16th,
At a
December.
second read
Yeah, that is-
for December 16th.
hopefully I don't mess this one up.
Is that good?
The motion is that we add a second read for the December 16th meeting on the temporary budget.
It'd be for, yeah.
And that'll
This
be
is the
for,
second. This is the second reading tonight. So the vote.
The vote.
is 16.
Sorry, hold on.
So
I asked.
we'll change that.
Date of voting.
Mr. President, while we're waiting, I just wanted to thank the mayor and finance director for the answers to the questions tonight. I thought it was thorough and gave us a lot of good information.
This was, yep, good to hear.
Okay.
Okay, if everybody wants to read the motions, is the vote to change the date to vote on Bill 179, it would be December the 16th. Does that look? Okay. Okay, the motion passes 6-1.
Mr. President,
Yes.
if I may, maybe if you guys need to leave, don't feel like you have to stay. I know you got kids and it's late, and just wanted to put that out there, maybe. It is, it is.
Okay, moving on then to Bill 25-181, Mrs. Meyer.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that Bill 25-181 be read and placed upon the floor for discussion.
Second.
Regularly moved and seconded, the clerk shall read Bill 25-181.
Authorizing the Safety Service Director to accept a COPS hiring program grant through the U.S. Department of Justice Office of Community Oriented Policing Services in the amount of $1,340,000. Wow, $792, and declaring an emergency.
Is there any discussion on Bill 25-181? Hearing none, Mrs. Meyer.
Thank you, sir. I move the Bill 25-181 to be placed upon the floor for passage.
Second.
Been regularly moved and seconded. Council shall cast their vote for final passage of Bill 25-181. Bill passes 7-0. Bill 25-182, Mrs. Meyer.
Thank you, sir. I move the Bill 25-182 be read and placed upon the floor for discussion.
Second.
Been regularly moved and seconded. The clerk shall read Bill 25-182.
Authorizing the Safety Service Director to accept a donation of $300 from Composing to be used to purchase new traffic vests for the Mansfield Police Department cadets, and declaring an emergency.
Is there any discussion on Bill 25-182? Hearing none. Mrs. Meyer.
Just many thanks to Kokosing for the donation. That's very generous.
Yes. Okay, with that, Mrs. Meyer.
I move that Bill 25-182 be placed on the floor for final passage.
Second.
Been regularly moved and seconded. Council shall cast their vote for final passage of Bill 25-182. Bill passes 7-0. Bill 25-183, Mrs. Meyer.
Thank you, sir. I move that Bill 25-183 be read and placed upon the floor for discussion.
Second.
Regularly moved and seconded. The clerk shall read Bill 25-183.
Authorizing the Public Works Director to accept a donation from Frederick Herring in the amount of $1,445 to be used to install a park bench at the Sturkle Dog Park in memory of his late wife, Linda Herring, and declaring an emergency.
Is there any discussion on Bill 25-183? Hearing none, Mrs. Meyer. Oh,
Thank you, sir. I just wanted to acknowledge that if probably most people don't know, but Mrs. Herring was a dog breeder, so she had a great passion for animals. So this is very befitting. So I move that Bill 25-183 be placed upon the floor for final passage.
Second.
been regularly moved and seconded. Council shall cast their vote for final passage of Bill 25-183. Bill passes 7-0. Bill 25-184, Mrs. Meyer.
Thank you, sir. I move that Bill 25-184 be read and placed upon the floor for discussion.
Second.
Or yeah, is that that's caucus?
We never moved that up.
No, I don't think
We never moved that up.
No.
I'm sorry. Yep.
Did we?
I thought we did. I have it marked that we did.
We did. Mm,
The Bobcat.
yeah, I don't think we did. Do we need to?
Not 184.
I thought he did 184. That's what I had marked. Okay.
Did we need to?
Okay,
That would
moving
be
on.
the request if we could.
Oh,
I'll make a motion that we move Bill 25-184 up for a vote tonight.
Second.
Bypass further readings.
Second.
Okay, it's been regularly moved and seconded that we waive further readings of Bill 25-184 and bring it forward to council tonight for a final vote. Bill passes 7-0.
no, just the
Oh,
move.
that was the motion. I'm sorry. Now we go to Mrs. Meyer.
Oh my gosh, what did I do? Did I read it? I make a motion that Bill 25-184 be read and placed upon the floor for discussion.
Second.
Okay, is there any discussion on Bill 25-184? Hearing none, Mrs. Meyer.
Thank you, sir. I move the Bill 25-184 be placed upon the floor for final passage.
Second.
Can we back up a minute? I'm off track. She didn't even read it, so
Go ahead, read fast.
read it real fast.
Adopting the City of Mansfield cybersecurity program by January 1st, 2026 and declaring an emergency.
You really are not this.
Is there any discussion on Bill 25-184? Hearing none, Mrs. Meyer.
I now move that Bill 25-184 be placed upon the floor for final passage.
Second.
Been regularly moved and seconded. Council shall cast their vote for final passage of Bill 25-184. Bill passes 7-0. Bill 25-185, Mrs. Burns.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that Bill 25-184 be read and placed upon the floor. Try it again. Bill 25-185 be read and placed upon the floor for discussion.
Second.
The clerk shall read Bill 25-185.
Authorizing the Public Works Director to purchase according to Sourcewell Contract 020223-CEC1 Bobcat Compact Excavator from Bobcat of Akron, 76 West Ave, Talmadge, Ohio, 44278, and trade in the 2020 Bobcat E35 for the Sewer Repair Department and declaring an emergency.
Is there any discussion on Bill 25-185? Hearing none, Mrs. Burns.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that Bill 25-185 be placed upon the floor for final passage.
Second.
Been regularly moved and seconded. Council shall cast their vote for final passage of Bill 25-185. Bill passes 7-0. Bill 25-186, Ms. Mount.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that Bill 25-186 be read and placed upon the floor for discussion.
Second.
Been regularly moved and seconded. The clerk shall read Bill 25-186.
Authorizing the Public Works Director to enter into a brownfield remediation agreement with the Richland County Land Reutilization Corporation, herein referred to as the Land Bank, approving the expenditure of up to $1 million for the remediation of a former shopping center located at 1157 Park Avenue West, Mansfield, Ohio 44903, and declaring an emergency.
Is there any discussion on Bill 25-186? Ms. Meyer, Mrs. Meyer?
Thank you. So, Mayor, this is strictly if we get the grant, then it goes forward. No?
It is written either way.
Okay.
It is written either way. But the intention, even if we weren't to not get it in this round, would be to still go for the state money. Here's why it's written that way. Because for the person who is considering buying it, they want some guarantee. They're not buying it for their own end use. They want some guarantee that the city is committed to helping them tear it down. So that is why I covered both bases. But to be very clear, they understand as well that we're aiming to limit how much local dollars have to go into this. However, I will just say, because I think Councilwoman Mount asked me this last night, I know at the beginning of 2024, we were talking about our demolition fund being low. It is not low anymore. And so we have been doing demolitions, but they're more or less residential, which of course is much less money. So we have more than enough to cover this in the, what's the word I'm looking for? If we have to do it, I guess. So.
A follow-up question. There are still tenants. in
There are
the
still
portion.
tenants. Yep.
And so what are the,
Yeah, I mean, again, we won't be the owners, but
right.
I believe that their intention, we're not looking to kick anyone out. There are issues in that building too, though it is not on the demo list. So I think the intent would be with the new owner, and of course with our economic development team, to try to help those tenants get into better space for them. So yeah, I'm glad you asked that, because if they're reading this, I want them to know that.
Very good question.
Mr. Akuchi?
So, Mayor, am I understanding that this process will keep us not allowing the owner to drag us for 2 years or 3 years in the court, so that the property just sits there, become an eyesore continually? Is that right?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any other questions, discussions on 25-186? Ms. Mount?
Just want to thank the administration for their work. I know you've been aggressively working on trying to do something about this, and various avenues have been tried. The law department's tried. I thank them for all their work. It's definitely been a project for a lot of people. So I want to thank everybody for what you've done to try to deal with this eyesore and bring betterment to this area of town.
Any other questions, discussion on 186? Hearing none, Ms. Mount?
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that Bill 25-186 be placed upon the floor for final consideration.
Second.
Been regularly moved and second. Council shall cast their vote for final passage of Bill 25-186. Bill passes 7-0. Bill 25-187, Ms. Mount?
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that Bill 25-187 be read and placed upon the floor for discussion.
Second.
Been regularly moved and second. The clerk shall read Bill 25-187.
Declaring the remains of a designated deteriorated two-story wood-sided residential structure with garage, 41 Chestnut Street, to be insecure, unsafe, structurally defective, and dangerous to life and other property, directing the demolition thereof by city forces or contract labor, materials, and equipment, and declaring an emergency.
Is there any discussion on Bill 25-187? Hearing none, Ms. Mount.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that Bill 25-187 be placed upon the floor for final consideration.
Second.
Been regularly moved and seconded. Council shall cast their vote for final passage of Bill 25-187. Bill passes 7-0. Bill 25-188, Ms. Mount.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that Bill 25-188 be read and placed upon the floor for discussion.
Second.
Been regularly moved and seconded. The clerk shall read Bill 25-188.
Declaring the remains of a designated deteriorated two-story vinyl-sided residential structure with miscellaneous structures, 368 Harding Road, to be insecure, unsafe, structurally defective, and dangerous to life and other property, directing the demolition thereof by city forces or contract labor, materials, and equipment, and declaring an emergency.
Is there any discussion on Bill 25-188? Hearing none, Ms. Mount.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that Bill 25-188 be placed upon the floor for final consideration.
Second.
Been regularly moved and seconded. Council shall cast their vote for final passage of Bill 25-188. Bill passes 7-0. Bill 25-189, Ms. Mount.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that Bill 25-189 be read and placed upon the floor for discussion.
Second.
Been regularly moved and seconded. Clerk shall read Bill 25-189.
Declaring the remains of a designated deteriorated two-story vinyl-sided residential structure with no outbuildings, 79 Eleanor Avenue, to be insecure, unsafe, structurally defective, and dangerous to life and other properties, directing the demolition thereof by city forces or contract labor, materials, and equipment, and declaring an emergency.
Is there any discussion on Bill 25-189? Hearing none, Ms. Mount.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that Bill 25-189 be placed upon the floor for final consideration.
Second.
Been regularly moved and seconded. Council shall cast their vote for final passage of Bill 25-189. Bill passes 7-0. Bill 25-190, Ms. Mount.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that Bill 25-190 be read and placed upon the floor for discussion.
Second.
Been regularly moved and seconded. Clerk shall read Bill 25-190.
Declaring the remains of a designated deteriorated two-story brick-sided residential structure with miscellaneous structures, 571 Spring Mill Street, to be insecure, unsafe, structurally defective, and dangerous to life and other property, directing the demolition thereof by city forces or contract labor, materials, and equipment, and declaring an emergency.
Is there any discussion on Bill 25-190? Hearing none, Ms. Mount.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that Bill 25-190 be placed upon the floor for final consideration.
Second.
Been regularly moved and seconded. Council shall cast their vote for final passage of Bill 25-190. Bill passes 7-0. Bill 25-191, Ms. Mount.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that Bill 25-191 be read and placed upon the floor for discussion.
Second.
Been regularly moved and seconded. Council shall cast, clerk shall read Bill 25-191.
Declaring the remains of a designated deteriorated single-story aluminum-sided residential structure with miscellaneous structures, 436 Gray Street, to be insecure, unsafe, structurally defective, and dangerous to life and other property, directing the demolition thereof by city forces or contract labor, materials, and equipment, and declaring an emergency.
Is there any discussion on Bill 25-191? Hearing none, Ms. Mount.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that Bill 25-191 be placed upon the floor for final consideration.
Second.
Been regularly moved and seconded. Council shall cast their vote for final passage of Bill 25-191. Bill passes 7-0. Bill 25-192, Ms. Mount.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that Bill 25-192 be read and placed upon the floor for discussion.
Second.
Been regularly moved and seconded. Clerk shall read Bill 25-192.
Declaring the remains of a designated deteriorated two-story vinyl-sided residential structure with no outbuildings, 132 Hedges Street, to be insecure, unsafe, structurally defective, and dangerous to life and other property, directing the demolition thereof by city forces or contract labor, materials, and equipment, and declaring an emergency.
Is there any discussion on Bill 25-192? Hearing none, Ms. Mount.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that Bill 25-192 be placed upon the floor for final consideration.
Second.
Been regularly moved and seconded. Council shall cast their vote for final passage of Bill 25-192. Bill passes 7-0. Bill 25-193, Ms. Mountain.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that Bill 25-193 be read and placed upon the floor for discussion.
Second.
Been regularly moved and seconded. The clerk shall read Bill 25-193.
Declaring the remains of a designated, deteriorated, two-story, wood-sided residential structure with miscellaneous structures, 501 Spring Mill Street, to be insecure, unsafe, structurally defective, and dangerous to life and other property, directing the demolition thereof by city forces or contract labor, materials, and equipment, and declaring an emergency.
Is there any discussion on Bill 25-193? Hearing none, Ms. Mount.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that Bill 25-193 be placed upon the floor for final consideration.
Second.
Been regularly moved and seconded. Council shall cast their vote for final passage of Bill 25-193. Bill passes 7-0. Bill 25-194, Ms. Mount.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that Bill 25-194 be read and placed upon the floor for discussion.
Second.
Been regularly moved and seconded. The clerk shall read Bill 25-194.
Declaring the remains of a designated, deteriorated, single-story, vinyl-sided residential structure with miscellaneous structures, 1111 Boyle Road, to be insecure, unsafe, structurally defective, and dangerous to life and other property, directing the demolition thereof by city forces or contract labor, materials, and equipment, and declaring an emergency.
Is there any discussion on Bill 25-194? Hearing none, Ms. Mount.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that Bill 25-194 be placed upon the floor for final consideration.
Second.
Been regularly moved and seconded. Council shall cast their vote for final passage of Bill 25-194. Bill passes 7-0. Bill 25-195, Ms. Mount.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that Bill 25-195 be read and placed upon the floor for discussion.
Second.
Been regularly moved and seconded. Clerk shall read Bill 25-195.
Declaring the remains of a designated, deteriorated, single-story commercial structure, 513 West 4th Street, to be insecure, unsafe, structurally defective, and dangerous to life and other property, directing the demolition thereof by city forces or contract labor, materials, and equipment, and declaring an emergency.
Is there any discussion on Bill 25-195? Ms. Mount.
Thank you, Mr. President. I want to thank the Permitting and Development Office for their work on all 9 of these. It's quite a list that we have in front of us, but specifically this property. This property has been an eyesore and a pain to that neighborhood with many complaints for years. And I'm glad to see it finally getting to this point that something will be done. It's, I know, been an issue for that neighborhood for a long time. So please thank your department for all their work.
Mr. President, can I just add, I want to thank the law director's office too. They absolutely were a partner in this. And, we did go to court a couple times over this back and forth. We really appreciate the good working relationship between the law director's office and the administration.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Any other questions, comments? Hearing none, Ms. Mount.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that Bill 25-195 be placed upon the floor for final consideration.
Second.
Been regularly moved and seconded. Council shall cast their vote for final passage of Bill 25-195. 7-0. Okay, that concludes legislation. Before we adjourn, I do want to apologize for a couple of my faux pas there and getting things a little confused for some people. But with that, Mr. Fauquet.
Two things. One, I did put out a meeting request for a joint caucus to discuss committee assignments for next year. Once it's finalized, we of course will notify the press. And then, but let's find a time first. And second, if we're going to talk about finance again next week, I just need an idea how much time if we need a committee meeting, and should it be short, long, whatever. Thank you, and I'll move to close.
Second.
Second.
Been ready to move in second. We adjourn. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned. I'm not even going to ask for any.